So in this case, we are given question number 5, which is a revision that we are going to have on our properties, working with the geometry of the straight lines, the properties of the shapes, considering the triangle and whatever that you're given. Remember, working with the straight lines. We are given on question 5.1, calculate the value of x, y, and z in the diagram below. There is a diagram that you're given. Provide reasons for your answers. So in this case, we need to provide reasons. How can we calculate the value of x, y, and z? All right, this is what we're given. We can properly see that we have got the indication here of the parallel lines. Remember, these arrows that you're given on lines indicate that the two lines are parallel. Then we have got a triangle, so we can also consider the properties of angles in a triangle if it is going to be applicable. We have got a straight line here, angles which are on a straight line. We can consider all those properties. So what is that you can consider? Let's start with x. Like I just said, we have got a straight line. Where x is, we have got a straight line. And what is it that we do understand about a straight line? Angles on a straight line, they add up to 180 degrees as long you are to consider a straight line. Angles on a straight line add up to 180. So meaning to say, all these angles that we are seeing, they add up to 180 degrees. So if you do not understand, what does it mean? You can just save it as an equation. All right. That is x plus, you add everything, the 40 degrees. So this x here plus the 40 degrees that you're given plus the 60 degrees, this one that we are given. Everything is supposed to add up to 180 degrees. What are we referring to? Angles on a straight line. So the reason now we can consider this as angles on a straight line. Angles on a straight line. Remember, the angles on a straight line, they add up to 180 degrees. So you formed an equation where you can solve for x. Remember our equations. This is an equation where the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side. All right, let us just combine our left-hand side. We've got 40 plus 60. That is going to give us 100 degrees, which is equal to 180. We can simply subtract this 100 because you are adding, or you can take it to the other side of the equation. It was a plus, so on this other side, we are going to have it as a minus. So that means our x is going to be 180 degrees minus 100 degrees, which is going to give us 80 degrees, just like that. So we have got the value of x, which is 80 degrees from the concept that we have got what? Angles, which lies on a straight line. All right, let's move on to another angle. We've got x, y there. All right, if you are to consider this is where y is. These two lines, they are parallel, remember? So let's consider from this point to the parallel line, to the point y there, to this point and back. What are we forming? We are back to the z angles, or the angles which form an N. Alternate angles, they are equal. This angle and this angle, they are equal. Alternate angles. Angles from what? The parallel lines. This angle and this angle, they're alternate angles. And alternate angles are equal. So meaning to say, this angle y here and the 40 degrees, the one that is alternate to this one, z. N, can consider that as n. All right. So that means y is simply going to be what? 40 degrees. Just like that. The reason, alternate angles. All right. So there we consider alternate angles. Let's move on to another one. So when you are answering your questions, try to fill in whatever that you calculated. Just like here, we calculated x. We put it here. You might know, you never know what's going to happen. Just put it there. The same here you calculated y is 40. Just put it here. You never know what's going to happen with this y that you are given. Just leave it like that. All right. So we need to calculate angle Z. So angle Z, there are two ways that we can actually use. One, we can consider the angles inside a triangle from the properties of the triangle. Angles inside a triangle, they add up to 180 degrees. So meaning to say, if we add the Z, the 40 and the 60, everything that you are given is supposed to give us 180 degrees. So Z plus 40 degrees plus 60 degrees, this Z here, plus this 40 plus this 60 is supposed to give us 180 degrees. Which concept are we talking about? Angles in a triangle. Okay, so we're talking about sum of angles in a triangle. They add up to 180 degrees. So that is going to be Z plus, that is 100. We solved an equation of this nature before, if you still remember. So this is equal to 180 degrees. So let us take the 100 to other side of the equation. The moment that it jumps the equal sign or it crosses the equal sign, it becomes a negative. It was a positive, so it changes the sign there. So it will be a negative, like what we solved before. So this is a repetition of what we solved before. If you are to consider this, that was going to be 80 degrees. So this Z here was going to be 80 degrees. All right. Another way that we could just obtain the angle Z in a straightforward manner is this. From the parallel lines, remember these two lines, they are parallel. Okay? They are parallel. What is it that we consider about this line? All right, let me just put it this side so that you properly see this one. What is it that you consider about this line that I'm indicating here? This one. What is it that we do understand? If these two lines are parallel, a line drawn across the parallel lines, it is the transversal line. And look what you are forming there, F. This is the F that we are having here, F. Okay, so remember, these are corresponding angles which are equal. Corresponding angles are equal. So meaning to say, from the F concept that you are forming, this angle X here and this angle Z, they are corresponding to each other. They are corresponding angles. One is inside, another one is outside. So this one is inside, this one is outside of the parallel lines. So these are corresponding angles. So Z was simply going to be taken as 80 degrees. If you could just consider that way, our Z was simply going to be just equivalent to 80 degrees from this one that we are given, referring to these as what? Corresponding angles. So these are corresponding angles. It is corresponding to this other 80 degrees that you're given. So that was our typical question. I do not know the way that you understand, but this can be taken in that way. So this Z that we simply calculated, it is equal to this 80, which is the X that we calculated. Remember, our X was 80 degrees. These two, they are corresponding angles. So there are so many ways that you can use to attempt this typical question, as long there is a reason. This one, the reason is we are considering angles in a triangle. The shape formed there is a triangle. So angles in a triangle, they add up to 180 degrees. So many ways that you can use. So that's what we had, guys, from Maths on African Motives. Till we meet again.